just do it.
Good morning, my name's Mick. Some of you might already know me. I'm Cheryl's husband. So, Leslie came to me a little while ago and said could I do some gardening, and the original plan had been to do some little gardening projects, but obviously at the moment that's not going to be possible. So what we're going to do instead is some questions and answers. So, a bit about myself. I've been gardening for over 40 years. I started with GLC Parks Department as an apprentice, worked my way up, became park manager, park superintendent, worked in various parks across London, worked at Wisley for a while, worked at Kew for a while, and I've worked for the Commonwealth Wargraves Commission out in France for 6 years. Right, so the first question is when's the best time to trim my roses? Well, unfortunately we've missed it slightly. The best time is from December to about the beginning of March, but you can still do it, it's not a problem. Only if you give them a hard prune like you would normally, what will happen in the summer, you won't get so many flowers, you'll just get lots of leafy growth and reduced flowers. So what you can do now is just give them a light trim over. Also what you're going to do is cut back any diseased wood, any wood that's died back, or any crossing stems or rubbing stems, because what they'll do, they'll make a site for diseases to enter. Right, also what you're trying to do is clear the centre of the rose so there's nothing growing in there. And what that'll do, that'll help to help the air to circulate around and reduce the risks of diseases building up, like mildew. Now if you see those two leaves there in the middle, you can see they've got like a sort of greyish tinge to them. That's the start of powdery mildew, and what that will do, that will weaken the plant, or weaken the stems, and make it a bit more susceptible to sort of things like aphid attack. So what you're trying to get is something like that. See where the centre's all nice and clear? Right, okay. You might think that gardening can be expensive, but if you keep your eyes open, you can bag a bargain. And here's a little video that I made last summer. I've just been down the garden centre to buy some stuff, and I saw this pelargonium on the manager's bargain shelf. As you can see, it's not looking too healthy to be white. It's been reduced. Now it was £8, reduced to 4, and I've got it for £3.50. So I think all it needs doing, a bit of tidying up, a repot, and it should be as good as new. So the first thing to do is cut out all the damaged stems and get rid of all the dead and dying leaves. Tidy it up, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of dead material come off it. Now what I was going to do, I was going to take the flowers off as well. I think I might keep those on there. Now it's in a 3 litre pot by the look of it. So what I'm going to do is move it into a bigger 4.5 litre pot. Because what I want to do is use it as a stock plant. Now stock plants are what you use for taking cuttings, for propagating. I'll explain that more in another video. And the soil I'm going to use is what's called John Innes number 3. It's a loam based potting compost that you use for when you have plants in pots for a long time. It's got more nutrients in it. Right, so here's the compost. So this is what it looks like. It looks quite sandy actually, so it might be quite free draining. So here's our pot. What I'm going to do now is put a piece of broken pot, or called crock, over the drainage hole in the bottom, and then let's get some horticultural grit. Pour that in the bottom. Spread it out a little bit, and that should help with drainage. Next thing to do, put your plant in the pot, and then check the soil level, see whether it's too deep or too high. But this looks about right. So what we do now is just fill around the soil sides with some more compost. Right, that's the pot filled with compost, and the last thing you can do if you want is just put some grit on top. And what this does, you don't have to do this, but it just helps keep the weeds down and conserve a bit of moisture. That's it, and that's that. Ready for quick water and then go in the greenhouse. So there we are, in the greenhouse, watered and ready to start growing. Once it's got a bit of growth on it, I'll start taking some cuttings and show you how to do that. I hope you enjoyed that. Right, so the second question is, what is the best environmental spray to get rid of black fly on my roses? Well, there's a number of commercial ones you can use. Off the top of my head, I think one called Bayer Bug Clear, or there's another one called Resolver. You can buy those in B&Q and Home Base, but of course obviously at the moment you're not aware to do that. So what you can do, you could make a homemade one. So what you need is a sprayer, looks like a normal little water sprayer. Fill it with water, put in some washing up liquid, some cayenne pepper, or a crushed clove of garlic, and spray that on the plants, directing it of course to the black fly. What that'll do, that'll kill off the adult black fly, but it won't kill the eggs, so you're going to have to do it a few times, and that should eventually get rid of the black fly for you. Right, so the third question was, when's the best time to start a salad container? Well, a salad container, you're growing like leafy plants like rocket, cress, mustard, and they're quick growing, so really you can start a salad container any time of the year. Now though, spring coming into summer is the best time because they will grow quicker than at other times. So what you're looking for is just a packet mix that will have like cress, rocket, pak choi, things like that in it. And what you'll need is a container and some compost. It can be any sort of container. You can use like a proper flower pot or a seed container, or you could just use a yogurt pot or one of them sort of mushroom pack things that you get like from the supermarket. Fill it with your compost, sprinkle the seeds on top, a bit more compost on top of the seeds, a little bit of water, and this time of year they should be ready within about 21 days, about 3 weeks. I've got a few examples I'll show you. So there's a good selection, and the best sort of type to use really for a salad container is these ones with mixed leaves in. They've got all sorts of things in. They've got pak choi, mustard, cress, and things like that. Just sprinkle them over the top, and they should be ready in about 3 weeks. Right, and the fourth question was, what's the best way to deal with slugs that are eating my vegetables? Right, well, it's not a tricky one, but it's something you're never really going to defeat because slugs are always going to be there. The easiest way, the quickest, cheapest way is of a night time. They come out at night, so go in the garden with a torch, they'll walk round, just pick them off and then dispose of them. Another thing you can do is make beer traps. So what this is, you get a little container or containers, space them amongst the plants, dig them into the soil a little bit, fill it with beer, the slug will smell the beer and fall in and drown. If you've got vegetables growing in a pot, you can wrap what's called a copper tape around it, and what this is supposed to do, as the slug crawls up, it hits the copper tape, gets an electric shock and falls off and won't go near your vegetables. Also what you could do on top of a pot, you could put gravel, and slugs don't like sort of crawling across gravel, allegedly, although I have seen them do it, but you can try that. Another thing to try is what's called a biological control, and this is where a predator of the slugs is used to attack the slugs and kill them, and I've got a little video that will show you all about that. Something else you can try are these things. nematodes, or in this case slug. It's a biological control. Mix it up with water and they get to work on the slugs. Let's open it up and have a look. So inside the packet there's another packet. It's got a powder in there. I assume we can mix them with the powder with the eggs of the nematodes. So what we'll do, we've got the allotment, mix them up with some water and apply them. Okay then, so here we are at the allotment. Right, here's the nematodes. Now the instructions say, open the contents, pour into a bucket 5 litres of water, stir vigorously, and then put half a litre of the stock solution into a watering can. So that's what we'll do. I've got some gloves on. It doesn't say wear gloves, but you never know, do you? They're living organisms and all that. Right, that's them all in there. A little bit lumpy, like a lumpy porridge they look. Right, give them a quick stir around. Might be an idea to keep your eyes away as well. Don't want you to stuff in your eyes. Right, that's that. Right, it says half a litre. Well, this is a litre, but hey ho. There we go. That's what it looks like. There's about half a litre there. Right, next thing to do, put it in your watering can. And put it on the crops or flowers you want protecting from the slugs. So I'll turn the camera around and show you where we're going to put it. Okay, so I'll move the camera around. Right, here we are. We've got some kale leading into Brussels. And what we do, just get the old watering can and then just sprinkle it all over the area. Well, hope you enjoyed that. It wasn't a very slick presentation this time. I'm going to be here again next week, hopefully a bit better. And if you've got anything you want to ask, send an email to Leslie and she'll send it to me and I'll see what I can do for you. And in the meantime, stay safe.